Good afternoon, Gary Job Corps students. Today is Tuesday, August 11th. It's 1:36 p.m. This is Miss Tracy, your CTR2 Grad 90 instructor and coordinator. And our online virtual class today will be virtual interviewing. That's how things are going right now. Not a lot of places are doing in-person interviews, so I have a presentation that will help you get through your interview. So I'm going to present and we'll get going. Welcome to your Google Classroom today, August 11th. And like I said, today we're going to show you how to succeed in a virtual interview. Now, granted, as COVID-19 continues to make headlines and the virus keeps people from across the world indoors, and the government issued on March 16th presidential guidelines to slow the coronavirus, many companies are still doing interviews, but they're doing them differently. And because companies still need to make hiring decisions during this time, photo and video interviews are becoming a widespread solution. In this presentation, we will review the best ways to be successful during your interview. So let's get started. What is a virtual interview? Virtual interview is an interview that takes place remotely, sometimes over the phone, which is a phone interview, but often using technology like video conferencing and other online communication platforms. During a time when the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, and the federal government recommend people practice social distancing, it's become essential for both human resources employees and candidates learn how to perfect their virtual interview process. Virtual interviews are often conducted much the same way as a face-to-face interview, but they're just done through the computer. Now, some are done on WebEx, some are done on Zoom, some are done on Google Meet. It all depends on what the company has for a setup. I've seen companies do interviews on Skype. So you'll just need to be prepared for whatever they do. And virtual communication requires considerations and adjustments. So you'll just pretend you're sitting in the room where you're doing the interview and everything should be okay. Okay, perfecting your interview. So to help to decrease the impact, if you're in the middle of your job search, it's likely that you'll be asked to do your interviews virtually. Here are a few considerations. Make sure to test your technology beforehand so your camera is working, your sound is working, wear professional attire, prepare everything in advance, limit your distractions. If you have a dog or a cat or some other pet, put them outside, put them in another room. If you have children, see if you could, especially little ones, if you can schedule it during their nap time, that would work out better for you. Use professional body language, build rapport, be authentic, and follow up. So we're going to talk about all of these today, and this is what are the best scenarios for doing a virtual interview. First one, testing your technology. As you can see, this gentleman is getting ready to have or do a virtual interview through Zoom. So a virtual interview requires tools like a camera and a microphone, a software program such as Google Hangouts or Zoom, and a reliable internet connection. At least a day before your interview, check all of your technology, making sure that your camera works, your microphone works, set up a test interview with somebody or a test Zoom call with somebody, just so you can see one another and be able to meet. That means having a functional computer that meets the technology specifications, downloading any necessary software, and ensuring the connection is strong enough to sustain a streaming video. Because I'll let you know right now, a lot of companies, when they do these, will record them so they can go back and look at the interview again and make decisions. Sometimes they'll pass the videos or the recorded sessions on to managers or supervisors for them to review as well. In the 10 to 15 minutes before your interview, check your internet connection, sign into the video or phone meeting the HR representative or hiring managers provided. Test the on sound and video to ensure everything is working. And it's always if your meeting's at 2 at 1:50, get online, make sure everything's working. And it's better to be early than late. And then all of a sudden realize at 5 minutes to 1 or 5 minutes to 2, oh, I can't get my camera to work, or I can't get my microphone to work. That's not good. That's why you should always test your technology at least the day before and set up a Zoom meeting or however you're going to do it with a friend so the two of you can connect so you know everything's working properly. And make sure, like, no distractions, and make sure that you're in a quiet area so you can do this interview properly. Okay? Let's talk about personal attire. Business formal for men or women. For women, it's go for a traditional suit, but keep it feminine. They have a lot of great options for women's these days. Pantsuits or slacks that match. Pumps are a great option, but if heels kill your feet, try ballet flats or loafers. Men, the same thing, a suit or a nice shirt and tie, slacks, and some nice dress shoes. So in a virtual interview, you should dress the same as you would in a face-to-face interview. And if you look to the left, we just talked about what is professional attire. Doing so not only makes you appear professional and excited about the opportunity, but it will also make you feel more prepared and more confident. When an interview takes place from a remote location like your home, you should expect to be just as formal as one that takes place in an office. If unsure, business casual is a good standard to follow. A great outfit for men and women is a button-down shirt, blazer, and slacks. So you don't want to put on a lot of makeup for women. Your hair's done nice and neat. Make sure your teeth are brushed. It's a good thing there's no food stuck in your teeth. Relax, take a deep breath, and everything should be fine. And remember, this is just a rough idea of how you should dress. If a woman wants to wear a top and skirt, that's fine. If a gentleman just wants to wear a shirt with a tie and slacks, that's great too. Just be very professional. I wouldn't wear any t-shirts with holes in them, no t-shirts with holes, or jeans or skimpy tops. No bathing suit tops for women either. Okay? Prepare in advance. With any interview, you will get the best results if you time to prepare in advance. Just because you are in the front of the computer doesn't mean you should rely on the ability to quickly look up answers or rely on written talk track to speak directly from you. You should prepare such things that have a natural conversation or reading directly from a script. Now, you can make little notes and have them in front of you. I would have your resume in front of you as well, and a copy of or a list of professional and personal references just in case the future employer asks for them. But if you have your resume in front of you, you can glance back at it if they ask you questions of why were you at this company and why did you leave? What exactly did you do there? And what kind of company were they? Then you can refer back to your resume and you'll have little things to talk about. Employers may give you a list of questions in advance they want you to answer, which can help you navigate your research. More often, you'll be asked to give answers without prior knowledge of the questions. And if that is the case, prepare the same way you would prepare for an in-person interview by planning for commonly asked questions, researching the company, reviewing the job description, and preparing relevant examples of your achievements and experience. So again, doing any type of interview, whether it's in person, online, or over the phone, make sure that you research the company, who they are, how long they've been in business, and what exactly they do, where they're located. You don't have to have the exact street address. Say they're located in Kyle, Texas, or in South Austin. So review the job interview again, and the job description, and prepare. A lot of questions will be about, tell me about yourself, common questions in interview and how to answer them. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And why should we hire you? So those are all good questions that 9 times out of 10 a future employer will ask. And one thing that I really should tell you should know about are these questions here, because these 5 questions, you should always have those in advance. Your strengths, your weaknesses, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you plan on going back and receiving any more schooling? And tell me about yourself. Now, when somebody asks me to tell me about myself, I always ask them, do you want personal or professional? And that way, I don't have to just pick one or the other. I let them choose. So just give them some brief overview of who you are professionally and who you are personally. You don't have to go into depth that I have this many kids, I'm married, or I'm divorced, or I'm single. Just a brief overview of who you are. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. Next one, limit distractions. We talked about this earlier. So find a quiet place in your home that is clean and professional looking. So if you're in your bedroom, make sure your bed is made, there's nothing hanging out, make sure your clothes are put away. If you have a pet, put your pet in another room, put your pet outside, whatever works for you. Make sure your computer's on a table instead of in your lap on the couch. Tell people you are sharing space about the idea. You're looking for an interview time, off place. Let people know, hey, I need to have this 30 minutes from 1:30 to 2 or 2 to 2:30 quiet. If you have little ones, little children, schedule around their nap time. So when they go down for a nap, that'll give you at least a half hour, 45 minutes to have some quiet time, and you'll be able to do your interview without any interruptions. Okay. Use of body language. How does body language affect your personal life? Well, body language can affect your life in many personal ways. This young lady is sitting straight and tall with her hands crossed. She's dressed nicely, and she's waiting. So when you sit like that somebody comes out to meet you, that gives you better posture. Because interviewing via a phone or a video limits the ability to commute with body language, it is important to utilize your body language in a clear professional way. For example, if you get a question that is unexpected, make sure to stay poised and take a moment to collect your thoughts. So if this lady got a question, she doesn't want to sag down or tilt her head. She wants to stay poised and professional with her head up and her shoulders back and her back straight. Sit up straight and ensure the camera is placed such that your face is in the middle of the screen, not too much blank space around, below or above your head. In most interviews, you shake hands with the potential employer at the beginning or at the end of discussion. It's important body language can cue the helps that you establish the relationship. So you normally go into an interview and you shake somebody's hand at the beginning and the end. You could give them a wave and say, hi, nice to meet you. This is my handshake. Or say good morning or good afternoon, but do it with a smile on your face and sit up. My grandmother always used to say, sit straight, you're going to have a hunchback. Or keep your head up so you're not dragging your head. And always greet somebody eye to eye. Okay? In here, I'm going to repeat this. It's important body language cue that helps you establish the relationship. Instead, find other ways to greet and exude enthusiasm, like smiling and giving a confident wave with eye contact. Okay? Let's build rapport. Establishing rapport is important in any business relationship because it allows you to separate yourself from other candidates by building a personal connection with the interviewer. When you interview in person, your enthusiasm, body language, handshake, and early small talk all about you build that connection. When communicating virtually, it's still necessary to find ways to establish rapport. You can do this by being prepared to talk about a common interest, ask how your interview's experience has been with virtual interviews, or by finding some other neutral topic with which to learn more about your interviewer. So, um, when I meet somebody online I've never met, I'll introduce myself and I'll ask them how their day is going and just small talk. Sometimes that really helps to get the interview off. Sometimes I've seen people who do interview do not want to do, like the HR or manager, do not want any small talk. They just go straight for the interview and that's it. So if that happens, don't worry. It's not on you. Just smile and keep your composure. Be authentic. This little quote here I really like. Be authentic. Create a life that feels good on the inside, not one that just looks good on the outside. When interviewing virtually, you have the rare opportunity to speak in a relaxing, familiar environment and show the interviewer who you are and why you're the best person for the job. Recruiters will look for how you express yourself to understand whether you are a good fit for the company. Use tools such as your body language, facial expressions, and interview preparations to convey your confidence and personality as it relates to the position. Just a hint. I know some people get really fidgety in interviews. If you don't have your hands where they're showing and they're underneath the table, and you need to wiggle your fingers, that's fine. Don't bite your lip. Don't rub your nose. If you need to sneeze, turn your head and say, "Excuse me." Um, but you need to use your body language and facial expressions, extra specially during a virtual interview, because this is the only time you're going to have a chance to really convince a future employer why you're the right fit for the job. Okay. And a follow up. So after your interview, plan a second well-timed follow-up. It's a good practice to send a follow email within 24 hours of the interview. Thank the interview for the time and letting them know you're available. And if they have any additional questions, reach out to the HR representative or hiring manager you've been speaking with prior to get a list of interviews emails. So here are 6 tips, and these are great 6 tips for follow-ups. Follow up with a thank you note. Provide any documents or information the interviewer has asked you for ASAP. If they ask you for let's say if you have any type of list of professional or personal references, and if you have any letters that have been written on your behalf, then you could, and they get ask you for those, get them to them like as soon as possible. Let your job references know that you're likely to be contacted. Usually when I have an interview, I usually send out emails to all my contacts of job references in advance to let them know that I'm interviewing for this company. This is the job title, job description, and to give them a heads up they may be contacting them. Check your social media. I guarantee you, HR managers or supervisors or anybody in HR will check your Facebook account, your Instagram account, anything along that lines. Make sure that your Facebook account is not inappropriate. If there's something on there you don't want somebody to see, then take it off or hide it. But I would just have a straightforward, clean cut social media page. Your contact with the employer should be professional and formal at all times. And, if you before you end the phone call or the phone interview or the voicemail or the any type of virtual interview that you have, ask them for their email. They'll be willing to give it to you, and just make a reference of it. Carry on with your job search. It's never wise to rely on one job opportunity. And that is very, very true. What I do is I have a spreadsheet, and in my spreadsheet, I put down, I list the company, the date I sent my resume and cover letter to them, the date I got a response, yes or no, they're interested, and the date I have an interview for. And then I have another column that also talks about follow up. And I usually give a company at the end of a job interview, I'll ask them if they're looking for someone to start right away, or if they're, taking their time. So usually if they say, well, we need somebody to start right away, if you haven't heard back from them in a week, just send a follow-up email. This is just how I do things, and say, hey, I just wanted to say thank you for the interview we had on this date. I was very much interested in the job and look forward to hearing back from you. And 9 times out of 10, you'll get an email or a phone call from them saying, hey, we would like to get permission from you to do reference checks. That means they're interested in you, or no, we've hired somebody else. So it's always good to get a follow-up. And when you don't get a follow-up, then usually that means that they just don't want to take the time to let you know yes or no. So I'll do the follow-up, and it's up to you. Sending an email is the best way to get a hold of people. I prefer not making phone calls. I know people are busy, so emails for me are fine, and then I have the answer in writing. So are there any questions? This list right here is really great to have. I've had it before. I found it on my computer, and I thought I'd add it to this presentation to give people ideas what is the best tips for interview follow-ups and the best way to do virtual interviews. This will be posted on our classroom, and if you participated in the class, that's great. If you didn't, you will be able to do another homework assignment that talks about interviewing to receive credit for today. And if you have any questions, please let me know, and have a great day, and good luck on your job search. Thank you.